Ooh, never done a video with my face before. Yeah, this is new. Hi, I'm Wizzy Busy or Ellis, and I want to talk about the Dream SMP for a second. So for those who are unaware and have been living under a lovely rock for the past couple months, the Dream SMP is a roleplay server that started as a non-roleplay server that stars a bunch of very popular creators like Wilbur Soot, Tommy Innit, Dream was taken, Mr. George not found, though he's not really a part of the lore, and it has been a sweeping success across the entire nation of a bunch of nations. From getting children on Twitter to debate the ethics of solitary confinement to getting those exact same children to debate the validity of an anarchist framework of government, this server seems to have it all. A few months ago, post-Filicide from Filza, Wilbur Soot, incel impersonator extraordinaire, stepped down as the head writer. This kind of propelled the server into a new state of things where things were more character-driven and everyone got to write their own individual plot lines. This meant that we got the exile arc, we got the prison arc, we got a bunch of different, mostly character-driven storylines. Some characters got propelled forward by this new trend in writing, and some characters unfortunately fell to the background, but many of them managed to get their footing on some niche or another in the storyline, including Nikki, my wife. That's a joke. I mean Nikki the character, my wife. I love her dearly. One of the characters that found his spotlight in this era was Ranboo Live, a very new streamer and new character to the Dream SMP. Ranboo Live as a streamer is reported to be a very tall man, a serial stealer of genders, a large fan of John Mulaney, and a rabid lore monster. I don't know about this trend of cis men in funny hats stealing children's genders. I lost my gender in a divorce 4 years ago, but I support them nonetheless. Ranboo, both as a character and as a streamer, blew up incredibly quickly when Tommy Innit decided to drag him into some inconsequential arson that he was planning on doing. With this one bit of lore that he was thrown into incredibly quickly, his character has racked up several dozen mysteries that have everyone on Twitter losing their minds on his alt account. He's remained in the spotlight ever since that one moment, and reportedly has a character doc with fewer words than this script, but more words than some other people's character docs, I assume. His character is a tall Enderman with memory issues, and he's also half something else, and that's the point of this video. Ranboo, like the bastardist Gen Z content creator that he is, seems to revel in the chaos that his mysteries create, and whenever I look at his alt Twitter, I feel like I'm a player in a D&D group chat and the DMs just keep on dropping all of this lore about their world-building scripts, and I just have to put together the pieces. And this analogy actually works because it turns out that Ranboo does play D&D in the real world. The mystery that's personally been playing my nightmares and my waking thoughts is what is Ranboo's other half? We know it's an Enderman and we know it's one other thing. Knowing that there had to be hints as to what it is, I decided to go on a research quest and make a theory video about this, and the issue with that at first was that I'm not MatPat, so I don't have the confidence to just say things that are patently untrue on camera. I want to feel like I have a basis for what I'm saying. I'm not confident enough in my Sherlock abilities to not be entirely sure that what I'm saying is not entirely wrong. My anxiety meds are pretty good for a lot of things, but they're not great for being wrong on the internet. So, when I started writing this script, I was going on the assumption that I would just be throwing spaghetti at a wall, and that this would be funny because I'd be losing my mind throughout the whole video. But then, when I started writing the script, I realized I think I had a case. Maybe I can be game theory. I too can say wildly untrue things in a funny tone of voice. So, without further ado, here's a breakdown of what I think Ranboo's and the other half might be. I'm gonna go through a list and we're gonna just figure this out mostly through elimination style. Let's go. Ranboo the character exhibits a number of traits that one could possibly use to figure out who his parents are, or just what his other half is if parents aren't involved in it at all. So, we're going to go over them today. We're going to use that set of traits to come up with a list of rules that we'll then use to eliminate mobs in the list of mobs I have written out. Let's go. 1. He is very polite. I don't know how this is going to figure into what other mob half he is, but we're putting it down anyway. 2. He has memory issues. This might not be because of his other half, it might just be like a thing that's going on in this little man's brain, but you know what, we're putting it down anyway, it might be useful. 3. He does not like eye contact. This is an Enderman thing, but it could also be another thing, we'll put it down anyway. 4. He does not have eyelids. I hate this. 5. He is 8'5" sometimes and 6'6" other times. I hate this too, but it could have some pretty interesting lore implications, so we're keeping it in here. 6. He has silk touch hands. This is probably an Enderman thing, but it's still going down there. 7. He bleeds red and also lime green. This could have been for a bit, but it's still going down there because it might be pertinent information. 8. He does not like water, but he does tolerate it, which could suggest that his other half is completely fine with water, like he can go in if he's wearing armor. 9. He makes Enderman noises. It's kinda cute. 10. Sometimes he sleepwalks. 11. In his sleepwalk state, he can incapacitate people. This is worrying, but it also has lore implications. 12. He does not like aggroing or killing Endermen. To him, that would be like stabbing a regular human person. So we can use this to figure out mobs that we have not seen him killed and not had a visceral reaction to that, and kind of, you know, go down the list eliminating mobs that he has killed and felt nothing about. 13. He does not pick sides. Octagons terrify this man. And 14. He has the backbone of a chocolatey Claire. Those are the traits that I think are worth mentioning. Now on to establish a list of rules. So, based on those traits, we can use some basic common sense to establish a list of rules that we can use for eliminating and highlighting certain mobs in this list. I'll refer to this list when I'm looking at the list of mobs. So, on to the list. Rule number 1. His other half probably cannot be an Enderman. This is just basic common sense. His first half is an Enderman, and I have never seen a white Enderman. 2. Pale color palette is a must. Just look at this man's skin. 3. Probably not a ghast. While this pains me to say, it is probably true. He has stated in lore streams that ghast language just sounds like screaming to him, and also on Twitter there was that one time when someone pointed out that on his TikTok he said that he was half Enderman and half ghast, and then he responded with, "Some things change," and I had an aneurysm in my bed. 4. Probably not a passive mob like a chicken or a cow. I could not imagine an Enderman being in a romantic relationship with a chicken or a cow if he was not made of magic. 5. Probably something with a bit more of a complicated AI, so, you know, not a chicken or a cow, and probably something a little bit more intense and original, so like a Minecraft original character. An OC, if you will. 6. Color of eyes means very little, though it is still pertinent information, because at one point someone asked Ranboo, "Hey, what do your eyes mean? Why are they red and green and not purple, like how Enderman should be?" And Ranboo simply responded with, "Because I think it looks cool. I'm not personally a fan of the black, white, red, and green color palette. Sue me, I just don't like how it looks, and the yellow makes it look muddy, but okay." 7. Probably not a skeleton. That's just bones. 8. Probably cool with water, and that's the final rule. So, those are all the rules I can think of. Now let's move on to our first round of elimination. As previously stated, I'm going to eliminate all the passive mobs that are more like farm animals right off the bat, which means I'm going to be eliminating sheep, cows, foxes, bats, chickens, cods, ocelot, pigs, rabbits, salmon, mushroom, squid, tropical fish, turtles, pufferfish, donkeys, horses, cats, parrots, mules, skeleton horses, dolphins, polar bears, trader llamas, pandas, wolves, and bees. That's a pretty big chunk off the list. These mobs are in accordance with Rule 4 and 5. They are very basic and probably wouldn't have player intelligence if they were to mix with an Enderman. Their AIs are more simple, and more importantly, I could not imagine any of them going on a Tinder date with an Enderman, which is very important. With that, we've cut down the list pretty substantially, so next I am going to eliminate all skeleton variants, silverfish, ghast, and tentatively I'm going to eliminate villagers, though I'm not going to eliminate villagers quite yet because they have a pale color scheme. Villagers don't have paper white skin, so while they do have pretty strong writing in terms of their complicated AI, and though I could imagine them going on a Tinder date with an Enderman, they don't have the color scheme down. Sorry, villagers. Though, again, not gonna eliminate villagers just yet, we'll look at those later. I'm eliminating skeletons and all their variations in accordance with Rule 7. They're just bones. I'm eliminating ghast in accordance with Rule 3, though this pains me to do. And I'm eliminating silverfish because... ew. Alright, awesome, so the list of mobs that we have as follows after the elimination goes as follows. Iron golems, spiders, cave spiders, zombie pigmen, evokers, vindicators, pillagers, ravagers, vexes, endermites, guardians, elder guardians, shulkers, husks, phantom, blazes, creepers, magma cubes, slimes, zombies, drowned, hoglins, and piglins. It's a pretty substantial list. We can still take a dream stance axe at that and hack it down a little bit further now, shall we? In accordance with Rule 2, pale color cats only, so I'm going to eliminate spiders. They are many-legged and also black. Cave spiders. They are also many-legged, and they're blue. Zombie pigmen. They are decaying and also pink. Regular piglin. They're pink and they would harp on Technoblade's brand. Guardians. Not pale, though the red eyes intrigue me, so I'm going to write that down for later. Endermites. They're not pale and they're microscopic little bastards. They could not date an Enderman. Phantoms. Same as the Endermites but worse, because they fly. Blazes. They are not pale and they're no-legged. Creepers. They are green and they explode, and I have not known Ranboo to be green or explode. Magma cubes. They are not pale, they are also square. I could not imagine an Enderman going on a date with a square cube made out of lava. Slimes. Same as magma cubes, but this time they are gooey. And zombies and all variations of zombies. They are all decaying, and I do not think most of them are pale. So, here's the thing. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I didn't have much confidence that I would be able to figure this out, but as I went down this list and did the research, I got more confident, and I think I can be Game Theory. I can be MatPat, and we are in the endgame. So here are the mobs that we have left over. I'm going to go over all of them as a viable option for Ranboo's parentage and explain my thinking. I might actually be a big brain right now, which would make me the player in this giant D&D game that figures out the DM's lore before anyone else does. So let's go. We have Shulkers, Vindicators, Pillagers, Evokers, Ravagers, Vexes, Ravagers, and Elder Guardians. Ravagers is spelled there twice. If you can tell, I was tired when I was making this. I was tired. So first, let's go over Shulkers. Shulkers are these little boxy dudes with a pale purple and white color scheme, absolutely a viable option for Ranboo's parentage, except for they are very small and they're not especially polite. Ranboo's introverted like the Shulkers are, but he isn't introverted enough to shoot people who try and hang out with him. He just is a little bit less likely to hang out with people when he gets to be by himself, so we're going to axe the Shulkers. Also, additionally, the lore about Ranboo shrinking and growing, for a second I thought of Shulkers and how they open up their little shells, but that doesn't quite work with it, so, you know, another reason to axe the Shulkers. Moving on, so next we have Vindicators, we have Evokers, we have Ravagers, and we have Pillagers. I'm going to group all of these together because they're all basically in the same vein. So, here's the thing. The reason I didn't axe these initially is because of their pale color scheme, but if you look at them, I don't think they're Ranboo's other half either. They're very rude, and Ranboo is not very rude. These fellas can be found in raids which attack other people without warning. Ranboo, if he was up there gonna attack someone, would absolutely warn them, except for that one time with the Butcher Army, but that was a mistake. He didn't know he was gonna do that, and he's done nothing wrong. Also, Ranboo's killed these guys constantly. He goes on road trips to burn down their mansions, and he has never done that for an Enderman, so I'm actually gonna put Vexes in that list too. He also killed Vexes with reckless abandon and felt nothing. So these all get axed off all in one fell swoop. That's 5 mobs gone from this already so short list. That leaves us with 2 final candidates. Crazy, right? We have an Iron Golem and an Elder Guardian. So first, let's go over the Iron Golems. Iron Golems, much like Ranboo, are very polite. They help villagers with their things, they carry around little roses, they're just very sweet in general. They have a pale color scheme, they're cool with water because they just sink straight to the bottom. They're also very tall. So I kept Iron Golems in here mostly because of their color scheme, and I couldn't think of any good reasons to axe them, but thinking about it more, they're made of organic material, so I don't think an Enderman could, you know, date and then have children with, Iron Golem. That just kind of seems off. Also, Ranboo has seen them before and not felt kinship with them like he does with Enderman, which leaves us with an Elder Guardian. At first, I saw this possibility and I scoffed. I guffawed. I said, a fish? A fish? A fish? It couldn't possibly be a fish. It's just a big fish. And then I thought about it further. And then I remembered that Wilbur canonically had sex with a fish. So, we're onto something. The 2 bits of Ranboo lore that I hate the most came to mind. The fact that he's 8'5", sometimes 6'6", sometimes, and also the fact that he has no eyelids. I don't think that fish have eyelids. Also, the growing and the shrinking part, Elder Guardians do them when they're aggravated. When they're aggravated, they grow spikes, they grow further, and when they are not, they are much smaller. That's a Ranboo parallel, baby. Ranboo, in his underrock state, can be seen to incapacitate those who he looks at directly. He gives them like a kind of, they can't get out. Guess what Elder Guardians do when they look at people? They give you mining fatigue. He's not a full Elder Guardian, so he's gonna do something different. Elder Guardians, much like regular Guardians, have thorns, so when you hit them, you get damage. And here's the thing, all of Ranboo's gear has like thorns 3 on it. Also his boots, they have Depth Strider. He doesn't like water, but he can sure swim in it. At one point, Ranboo thought it would be cool to make an underwater city, and well, I think that might have just been a quote to get his chat at tizzy about the city of Mizu. It certainly did with me. It is definitely something to think about, because Elder Guardians live in giant temples that were underwater cities. This video was supposed to be kind of funny and sad, like ha ha ha, I'm losing my mind, But I think I've got something here. So, I can finally be big brain. I hope you all enjoy, and enjoy this one final clip.
He fucked a fish.
He did not fuck a fish.
He wanted to fuck a fish.